evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village Board meeting for March 5th. I will ask our clerk to take the roll, please.
Sure. Mayor Nero.
Here.
Clerk Simsky here. Trustee Barker.
Here.
Trustee Guzzo. Here. Trustee Little.
Here.
Trustee Pirelli.
Here.
Trustee Plowman.
Here.
Trustee Scales.
Here.
Attorney Zemanek.
Here.
Village Manager Gunther.
Here.
And Assistant Village Manager Parker.
Here. Great. If everybody can please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have one request for open forum. I know there was a few others, but since it was related to an agenda item, we'll give you an opportunity at that point. So my friend Brian, come on up, sir. I want to talk a little bit about e-bikes. I know you got an idea to share with the board.
Yes, hi, my name is Brian Turing. I'm Westmont resident. I wasn't able to make the meeting last when you voted on the e-scooter regulations, but I wanted to suggest taking the fines and turning them into funds. In other words, taking all the fines collected under the new regulations and putting them in a dedicated fund to be used for new biking facilities, and I'm thinking especially like installing more racks around town. I think the regulations make a lot of sense. I think they're going to improve safety by a lot, and that's great in the abstract, but this could also give us a really nice tangible public benefit to point to and just makes the whole thing feel less punitive and more just community-minded. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, Brian. We'll see you. Okay, I'll close open forum. We're going to move right into reports. First is the mayor's. A couple big updates. Strategic plan. The village continues to move forward regarding our work on our strategic plan. The entire board and department heads are going to be meeting next week, couple nights, to discuss ideas, develop goals. So look for updates regarding this process to be reported soon. Next, another big item is State of the Village. This year's presentation is going to be our second one in about a year and a little over, almost 2 years. It's going to be May 20th right at BAM Theater, so we're changing up the venue. It's going to be no cost, some good snacks, and a good presentation on some priorities here at Village Hall and what all work we've been doing this past 10 months or so. Couple fun things. We want to congratulate the junior high. Many board members and I and our manager, we got the pleasure to go visit Pizza Wars at the junior high. It's an annual fundraiser that they have for the kids, and always is a lot of fun to eat and judge and vote on your favorite pizza, so congrats to them. And then that same night, we also had a ribbon cutting at a pretty cool business called That Golf Place. It's right off Chicago Avenue. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's a membership-only golf simulator, 2 bays, pretty slick business. Already sold out on members, but I know one of our board members looking to bring some guests with, so talk to Trustee Scales if you want to go check it out. Again, though, congrats to them, 2 great business owners. We appreciate their investment in the town. And last but certainly not least, back to the junior high again, and I want to pull up a couple quick stats here because it's so important. I'm sure we all heard, I know I mentioned it before, but we are super proud of the Wrestling Panthers team at the junior high. Very, very successful season, and they continue on to have an excellent postseason. They are going to be on their way. Listen, there's 21 boys qualified for sectionals. So we're going to have a fair amount that are going to make it to the state, and it's supposedly the top 4, which we'll find out, I think it's Saturday or the sectionals. So I don't know how many have ever made it to junior high state, but this is a pretty cool accomplishment. So more to come on that. I know a lot of us are following it, but I thought that was just worth sharing, and we wish them the best of luck in the next couple days, and that is all I have. Clerk Simsky.
Thanks, Mayor. General primary elections are coming up, and the Westmont Library is an official voting location for DuPage County. So early voting has begun, and check the website for details. And then a note on Village Hall closure. Village Hall will be closed on April 3rd, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Johanna Guzzo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had our Fire Public Safety Committee meeting right before this meeting. Upcoming meeting dates for 2026 are May 28th, July 23rd, November 12th. We had a very exciting evening, and I would like to share some of the highlights from that meeting. Congratulations to EMA Lieutenant Robert Sipek for over 121 hours of volunteerism, so thank you. Also, EMA Lieutenant Britt Kane, 107 hours of dedication to Westmont, thank you. Deputy Director David Lincoln was given a 30-year plaque, service and dedication to the village of Westmont, so thank you, David. Battalion Chief Eric Blaskovich was presented a plaque for his completion of his Chief Fire Officer program. Congratulations to him. Deputy Chief James Fitzgerald was given a plaque for his 5-year-long Executive Fire Officer program through the federal government. Congratulations to Jim. And then we also had a promotion. Firefighter paramedic Liam O'Connor was promoted to the rank of lieutenant. I want to congratulate him. In addition, we had several life-saving awards and teamwork awards. The teamwork award was presented to Andrew Fitzgerald, Daniela Martinez Zuniga, Mark Skoronsky, Harrison Sloyer, Keith Wansowski. I want to give them a congratulations. And then there was also a life-saving award presented to Ryan Beasley, Rick Aquino, Ivan Salgado, Katie Jansen, Daniela Martinez Zuniga, and Rebecca Gurin. Congratulations to them and thank you. And then one more life-saving award to Eric Blaskovich, Ryan Besley, Andrew Hunt, and Darren Files. Congratulations and thank you for those great life-saving and team awards. And then the Firefighter of the Year award presentation was given, and the Firefighter of the Year Training and Safety Officer, Captain Daniel Barrett. I want to congratulate him on being our Firefighter of the Year presentation. In addition to all of that, we also had an update on the new fire station. And one moment here. The new fire station update was presented by 845 Group in Leopardo. Be sure to check out the village website for upcoming press releases on what is moving forward. And we also received our 2025 year-end report that will be presented and posted on the village website. And then continuing on with the fire department, I just want to remind everyone, 3/8 is daylight savings time begins. We spring forward, change those batteries in your smoke detectors and your CO detectors. And then the Knights of Columbus Fish Fry, every Friday through Lent, 25 North Cass Avenue, 5 to 8. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Matt Scales.
Thank you, Mayor. Community Development Committee meeting dates for 2026 haven't changed. They are April 16th, July 9th, and September 17th. We have a comprehensive plan update where staff has selected a consultant and is currently working on solidifying contracts, and that process should be starting in the spring. Planning and Zoning Commission has their next regular meeting on March 11th at 6 p.m. They will be including the consideration of the new fire station facility that we discussed today. And then a reminder to call Julie 811 before you dig. The village has posted this annual reminder to the public to call before you dig for any type of construction or maintenance project. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Gina Pirelli.
Thank you, Mayor. This is for the Public Works Committee. The next meeting is March 19th, 4:30 in this location. This is talking about the UCMR5 water sampling complete. You probably got that little card in the mail on it. And it's the unregulated contaminated monitoring rule 5 water sampling for 29 per, oh, do I have to say that word? But it's PFAS. And lithium has been completed for the water supply to the Village of Westmont residents, and they found no detectable unregulated contaminants that were found in our water. And like I mentioned, you got a postcard in the mail talking about to all the water customers about that. And then a river sweep, so we're looking for volunteers are needed for this year's river sweep, which is April 18th, and residents are encouraged to sign up online by April 5th, and all this information will be on the village website.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right, thank you very much. River Sweep's a great event, so hopefully residents sign up. Moving over here, Trustee Bob Plowman.
Thank you, Mayor. The next Police Public Safety Committee meeting will be taking place here on May 14th, and the e-bike and e-scooter safety program, that's been the hot topic recently. Sign up for this informative program held at the Police Department at 500 North Cass, March 25th at 6:30. The village has also created a specific web page featuring current info regarding e-bikes and e-scooters. Visit westmont.illinois.gov/e-bikes. Also, we have a paper shred event coming up. Mark your calendars. The first shred event of the year for Special Olympics will be April 18th, 2026. That's always a good fundraiser. Drug Take Back Day is April 25th at Mariano's and 500 North Cass from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. More info on the website. And just a comment, it seems like our calendars are filling up with ribbon cuttings like almost every week. So if that isn't a sign that we're moving in the right direction here, it's just been pretty exciting times. So that's my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Linda Little.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Administration Finance Committee meeting on April the 2nd, 4:30, right here in Village Hall. Everyone's invited to attend. Pet Palooza Pet of the Week contest. Everyone's invited to go to our website and sign up their pet for this weekly contest. Remember, the new Pet Palooza event will also be held at Veterans Memorial Park on May the 16th. Details on the village website at westmont.illinois.gov. And spring window murals. Businesses can now sign up for spring windows through westmontevents.com. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bruce Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. This past Monday, we had an Environmental Improvement Committee meeting. We had two guest speakers at that meeting. One was from Public Works, and they gave a report on street lighting and the dark sky, and it's dark sky leaning. It's not dark sky compliant, but it is a much better, much improved lighting solution. And I just kind of wanted to point out the reason that it's critical to us is we have a bunch of old fixtures across town, and we have a lot of them. So if you remember a few years ago, they weren't able to get parts, they weren't able to make repairs, and we had to transition to something. So I want to applaud Director Reese and the work that they did on research and finding solutions to replace those. Not only are we going to get better lighting, it's going to be down lighting, it's going to reduce glare. It's not going to diminish lighting, but it's going to be more effective lighting, and it's going to be with less fixtures, which is a benefit. And, you know, the bad news is it's across the community, right? We're taking old antiquated stuff and we're replacing it with modern fixtures as we go forward. The exciting part of that is there's a Metra platform that's going to be reworked out here, and that will have less fixtures, but the new compliant fixtures, and then work going forward that the village does with projects will have the same consideration. So that's going to change, and people should expect, a better solution. And then the other topic that we had presented was Clark came in, and Clark is our company that provides the mosquito abatement over the course of the spring and the summer and the fall. And every year it feels like every year, but they always come out to us and make a presentation and talk about, what's new or not. And I always want to say that, the EIC as a group supports that abatement work that they do. And we scrutinize it every year, but we support the work that they do, and they're leaders in the industry. Westmont goes above and beyond a lot of municipalities in the most environmentally friendly application that they can use. EIC is also promoting pollinators and protecting butterflies and all of that. So we pay attention to all those details to make sure that this is the absolute, if you have to do it, this is the best choice. And we believe that as a committee, we believe that, and we're happy to recommend it. It's important to know if you're concerned about it, you can receive actual phone calls from them when they're going to do a spraying, where they'll come through it in the middle of the night and fog the trees and all of that. It's actual phone calls. They used to have a time where they did text messages and stuff like that, but now I'm assuming it's AI going to call you and tell you we're going to spray, but it'll sound like a person, right? But anyway, a very good program. And then to check our concerns, right, we also had another speaker at one of our EIC meetings, and she was on the state level, and she endorsed that company because they're that good. So DuPage County's got a real good contractor there, and they care about what they're doing, and they you know, they do understand, for all of us that care, right, Linda? Pollinators, they're protecting the pollinators, they have a passion for it, so we're confident in what they're doing. I wanted to share that. We also have other things going on. We have the electronics and more recycling event out here in front of Village Hall on April 4th. And, you know, we continue to develop that. There's details on the website. We continue to try to improve that and make wait times shorter and all of that. But like I've always said, every time we have that event, it gets bigger and bigger. More and more people are taking advantage of it. So again, another great program that we're able to offer here in Westmont. We have a dark sky grant program. The details are also on the website where people, whether it's a resident or a business, can look into information there, and then we'll actually help them offset some of the costs if they transition to this better way of lighting. And it's, you know, it's good for all of us to do that. All the benefits will be there in that program. And then lastly, there's a tree seedling giveaway, and residents can sign up to see, receive 3 free tree seedlings that will be distributed on Arbor Day, and that information, which is April 24th, and that information is also on the website. So a lot of nice environmental things going on here in the community, and we should be very proud. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, moving on. Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, we're going to pinch hit tonight. I will ask Assistant Manager Parker to run us through the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda for tonight includes village board meeting minutes from February 19th, finance ordinance number 5 in the amount of $1,980,611.44, one purchase order for Omega Sign and Lighting, the amount of $139,500 to remove the digital sign that's at the fire station and put a new sign in front of the fuel station to make room for the fire station remodel. A purchase orders and finance ordinance combined is $2,120,111.44. And the community events request for the 2026 Race to the Flag event, including community events permit, street closures, and live amplified sound permit. And that concludes the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Scales.
Any questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. We have no unfinished business. Moving into new business A, voluntary annexation, 4105 North Lincoln Street. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from George Wilson and Sandy Wong for the voluntary annexation of 4105 North Lincoln Street in Westmont. And I'm sure Director Hennefine's here to help.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a fairly simple one. I know that we probably haven't seen an annexation with some of our new board members, but basically we did run a water line on down Lincoln Street. There is water available. This is up in the Liberty Park area, so we have a property owner that is taking advantage of wanting to connect to our water. One of the requirements is that they annex into the village of Westmont. If they were not contiguous, so if they did not touch Westmont, then they could not do it without a pre-annexation agreement. In this case, they are contiguous, so we can take them right in and bring them into Westmont, and that is what the request is before us.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion, Scales.
Second, Plowman?
Any questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on, B, special use permit T-Box 777 Oakmont Lane, Suite 50. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from 21 Handicap LLC doing business as T-Box. The petitioner and Quail Ridge Executive Illinois Realty LP, the owner for the property at 777 Oakmont Lane, Suite 50 in Westmont, for a special use permit to operate a health and fitness service business, golf simulator business in the OR Research District. Director Hennerfein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what's before us here is a special use permit. So we heard some discussion about a golf simulator business that just recently opened on Chicago Avenue. This is a little bit different and a little bit larger. So this is more of an indoor golf and training fitness facility. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is a membership-only facility. have 5 golf simulators, but what makes them a little bit different, they have a putting green, a dedicated gym, cold plunges, and a sauna. So it is a little bit larger operation than the one that we just had open on Chicago. It received a unanimous positive recommendation from Planning and Zoning. It met all the special use standards to substantial compliance, and I can answer any questions, and I do have the petitioners here if you have any questions. for
Come
them.
on up, guys. Yeah, tell us about it. 21 handicap? Are you trying to call trustee Scales handicap out or
That's
what?
a really high handicap.
Well, welcome. Sounds like a neat business, guys.
Yeah, so it's really about the community and coaching and clubs fitting. So we saw it's a franchisor out of Utah who had their FTD opened up in Illinois. So we're the first franchise in Illinois, and we chose Westmont because of the community, central located, and really been a pleasure to work with you guys this far. So we chose 777 Oakmont Lane because of the corridor and the scalability of what we see. So going after high school teams, junior leagues, going in with Illinois Junior Golf Association, and being really community driven to coach the youth. And then obviously myself, in my early 30s, and I want to get better at golf, and having like-minded individuals. We get really busy at work, having a place to go hit, get a good potential sauna, cold plunge session, and get coached up to hit and drive the balls and shoot them straight in the fairway when you're out on the weekends. So it's kind of
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add is we're also going to have a golf pro on site, so it makes it a little bit different. 40 hours a week, so it'll come.
Nice.
If you remember, it'll come with 1 free lesson per month, and that man is going to the only employee required for the business, and that'll kind of own the shop and also keep the place uptight. So,
And the 2 year partners?
yep, correct.
That's neat, huh? How about that? First golf simulator, 2 partners, good buddies, both have different jobs, and you guys are doing the same thing, a little bit bigger though. That's really neat. Congratulations, both of you.
Thank you.
What a cool business model, and it just happens to be right in my backyard, so, I appreciate it. Well, hopefully it goes well. Any questions, since we have the petitioners here, comments?
I would just like to make a comment, right? So years, not too long ago, we heard that, I grew up playing golf, to just say that, right? But we heard golf was in the decline. But what I'm learning is there's no shortage of bad golfers.
actually the running joke is COVID actually saved golf. So the golf was actually on the decline through memberships at country clubs, and then the youth picked it up, and for whatever reason, it brought the community back together, and we've seen a huge increase, and then virtual golf has been exponentially growing.
It's a good game. It teaches you about frustration.
Yep,
Good and
just-
bad golfers welcome. That's the point, to get better.
Congrats.
yes.
So like the other facility, it says it's open 24/7, so is that just a keypad kind of a thing or a card thing to get in, or how does that work?
App-based, so every member would download our app. Once they go through the vetting process of being onboarded, they'd get the login credentials, and that'd actually be up through your Bluetooth phone, and only that individual would be able to go into the facility. We have cameras running around, so people who would try to sneak in people, we would let them know and have fines, or there'd be like a 3-strike clause, because there's no food and bev. It's strictly about coaching and getting better at the game of golf.
Full surveillance inside and out.
Nice.
So the applicant noted no food and beverage. They mentioned to Planning and Zoning Commission that no alcohol would be allowed at this facility, whether provided by them or that members or guests could bring in.
No BYOB.
I originally put that as a special condition into the ordinance, but then since it wasn't specifically discussed by Planning and Zoning Commission as a special condition, Community Development Department staff suggested that I remove that from the ordinance, but raise it with you if you felt like it's something that should be added, or whether you rely on their representation that alcohol won't be permitted there. Certainly, if they want to sell it or provide it, they would have to get a liquor license. But I think if people want to bring it in and they or a subsequent owner says, fine, it's whether you're okay with that.
What about like for a private event or something,
That was our
cutting
main,
or-
sorry to intrude, but that was our main goal, I guess, was the only downfall from that, was if we do plan to host events, it's going to be a good place to host events. We would like to have alcohol available, but it's not a deal breaker for us, so obviously would be liked, but.
And we did talk to, I forgot the gentleman's name that helped us do it. I know that City of Westmont does special permits for alcohol, like for your guys' community events through state fairs or whatnot.
that we would be able to file for that 4 times a year and have a dedicated day for, if it was like a demo day or a special event day, customer appreciation day, that's where we would apply for that permit and have a weighted staff who would be checking IDs and making sure that it's not BYOB and it's all vetted out through the proper channels.
So Attorney Zibinakis, so is your question that we make it a special part of the special use request as part of the ordinance or not?
I don't have a recommendation one way or the other. I'm just saying,
you're
I'm
asking-
asking the board if they have a preference one way or the other. It was.
I personally don't have a preference one way or the other.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to restrict them from being able to do the special events or things like
Yeah.
that.
Same here.
Can I ask about staffing? So did I hear you're open 24 hours a day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so is there always a staff person there?
No.
No, just one employee, 40 hours a week.
That'll be our coach
Okay,
on
so
staff.
my concern would be this, right? If a single person was in the facility on their own and had an issue, there's nobody to monitor that.
Our surveillance, and then they would have to book a tea time. So you can't just walk into the facility and.
No, I understand, but it would be occupied, so you have a building, right? And you have somebody in there all on their own, there's a medical condition or a problem, right?
Correct.
But they're all on their own.
Yeah.
So unattended.
Yeah, we'll be monitoring the security cameras closely. We'll even have remote access. So if we see someone has an 11 p.m. tea time, we'll be able to view that on our phones, keep an eye on them. Doesn't guarantee that something could be an issue, but I guess that's more
You
on the
must
owners.
have pretty good insurance, right?
Oh, we
Yeah.
would have an insurance,
Correct.
obviously, document for that. I know a lot of other villages, like I'm from Village of Homer Glen, we do have a 24/7 gym, and I know that that's been something that has been monitored. We do have a signed waiver that we have to do. If you're going out there, you're responsible for your own actions, and especially without personnel on site, that they would be responsible to make sure that they're safe, and we would make sure all the conditions and kind of give them the best, hopefully nothing bad happens, but always plan for the worst and hope for the best kind of a mentality.
Hey, Manager Gunther, didn't this come up with the other golf place where public safety needed like access, like a code or something? Is that just standard practice, just in case there was a fire or God forbid something happened? Like how do they get in without having the code, right?
Yeah, the codes are important. You know, the fire department has a Knox box, so you can get in that way. So that we do have access in case we need to get in.
Got it.
Cops are good at breaking in things too if all else fails.
Halligan Bar.
And we did talk to the broker, and they said that they would be giving the keys not only to ourselves, but if we needed to give it to whatever personnel from the village, we would be able to do that.
Very cool.
So it might be unstaffed, but it's not unmonitored is what you're saying, so.
Correct. Yep, and the cameras are backed by AI. I know that's the future of where things are going, so there's a lot of monitoring that's happening behind the scenes. So if they do see someone that fell down, our cameras would be picking it up and be calling the local fire department or whatever, giving us alerts as the owners of the business as well. So,
Okay.
using the technology to where it's going now.
I asked our attorney just for some guidance on the special event for liquor, so I didn't want to just share the
Just
process.
if you're planning to have an event like that where you want to be able to serve liquor, just apply through the village clerk's office for temporary liquor license and make sure you give enough time to have that process so it's not days or a week before the event. Otherwise, we'll probably say you can't have it because they won't have time to process it.
Yeah.
Understood.
If we're going to be planning something, it'll be definitely months out, making sure we get the right buy-in from all our members.
Well, hopefully your first one is a ribbon cutting you're planning. But we got to get there, so almost. Any other comments from the board, questions? I don't think we have a motion yet, correct? I need a motion to approve.
Motion, Scales?
Second Guzzo.
Any last minute comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Congratulations, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
When are we going to open?
September 1st.
September, all right, cool, looking forward to it.
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Okay, moving right along. C, zoning map amendment, OR to M, 735 North Cass. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from 735 North Cass LLC, the petitioner, and the Andrew C. Hoskins Trust and the Venuzio Limited Partnership as owners for the property at 735 North Cass Avenue in Westmont for a zoning map amendment to rezone the property from the OR Research District to the M Manufacturing District. Director Hennerfein.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Board. So what you have before you tonight is a request for a rezoning. I always try to clue the board in if we see requests as repeated or rarely. This is a little bit different in that this is a request for a rezoning that's not associated with any construction or new development. This is an existing building that was built in approximately 1978. It fronts on Cass Avenue, just a little bit north of Plaza, just south of the Dooley building. It's a fairly nondescript building. It's had a long-term business that was in there, but it went up for sale approximately July of last year. So what it is there's a contract purchaser that feels that it's more viable if it is rezoned to M Manufacturing District. There is M District that is adjacent to this, so we have a lot of M District around Ty Warner Park. There was some active discussion at Planning and Zoning. It was not a unanimous decision. It was a 4-1. We had one dissenting commissioner that raised concerns regarding the intensity of land uses that the M District can allow. This building was not built for the M District, so that's always a little bit of a concern. And then the comprehensive plan's lack of guidance on this specific corridor. As everyone knows, our 2013 plan is a little bit outdated. We are working actively on a new plan. We do think that this entire area may have a different vision, which we haven't yet discussed. The comprehensive plan process will vet that out. But I can safely say that I don't know that increasing the M up there, the M district, is where the comp plan will go. So it did receive a positive recommendation from Planning and Zoning. I do have the petitioners here if you want to ask them any questions.
Well, let's welcome them up since they're here, and welcome.
Thank you. Carlo Rossi, Rossi Real Estate. So we're a commercial real estate investment management company. We're based in Downers Grove, live in the area, came across this building. The issue with the building is we believe it was originally, the original occupant of the building was Carrier HVAC. So there was formerly HVAC sales in there and light industrial uses. So we like the building. But it's built out for offices and it's zoned for offices, but there's not really any office users for the building. So in order to effectively market it to the tenants that are compatible with the building, it would be need a user that falls into that M zoning category. So we're on a contract to purchase it. We'd like to purchase it. We have plans to divide it, add a sprinkler system, so that it becomes more marketable. Basically where we're at.
Sure, appreciate it. Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Fire away, sir.
Thank you. I think this might be more for our staff and, fire department. So I understand the need to make the property viable, right? And find more uses, because we have empty office buildings all over the country. What I'm wondering is if we would rezone this and they get a tenant and they come in there and they set up a business, right? And then that business changes over a couple years. Are we ever back at that business knowing that it's changed? And or does the fire department go in there annually to make sure that it's the right, I'm a little bit worried about, not that building, right, but all of them. What's going on in all of those buildings up there, and if we have eyes on them once a year, knowing that these are permissible uses in that area. But if the domino falls here, then other people are going to approach for the same thing, because occupied buildings are better than unoccupied buildings. And if we know that we're able to look at them annually, and then, I'll say police it that way. And then the other thing that I want to make sure that whatever we do up there, I don't want the manufacturing or office buildings or anything to impede on the ability for Ty Warner Park to function, right? I don't want employee parking taking up all the spots at the park for the people that are going to the splash park or the pavilion or the concerts or whatever it happens to be. So we don't get a sprawl in that area, and now there's no parking available for the recreation that's in that area as well. So that's,
So I'll first speak to some of the things I can answer, then I think the chief can jump in on some of the inspectional side of things. So on the zoning, the use side of things, the zoning side of things. When businesses go in, we have a business registration. That is when zoning and the building department goes into the building before we let anyone open. So we do the check, the initial check when the business moves in. The chief can speak to how often the fire department gets in, but we get in the first time, and then if they just keep renewing their business registration, we typically don't get in again. We notice changes based on what's happening outside. So if we suddenly see a dynamic shift in a bunch of company trucks or something that we didn't anticipate, that is where code enforcement gets involved and says, scratches their head and says, wait a minute, is this the same business that was approved in here? Oftentimes, the fire department, when they get in, will alert us to things that they see, which allows us to ask questions. As to the parking, one of the things that we do look at is based on the OR district it is now and the M district that it is proposed to be, does a difference in our parking calculations based on district, does it still accommodate? And there is enough parking based on M district uses to occupy this building. And then I'll let the chief.
Joe, just before you go, so anything that would be a permitted use in that space, in your opinion, right, is going to be okay in that location?
I don't think I have the same confidence to say that, because what we have to remember is this building was not built for the M district.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things in the M district that could have lots of trucks or other things that aren't necessarily special uses. Now, there are some really impactful things that are special uses even in the M district. There, we don't have nearly as much regulation, because by going with an M district, there could be things in there that do generate traffic, that do cause exterior impacts to the neighbors. It's much harder to regulate when the building wasn't built to be manufacturing. So you hope there that the market, that if I have a company that has a big demand, that I look at the space and say, this can't really service my business very well. But if I used an example, I've got a lot of properties down on Vendustrial that like to fix semis. They weren't built for semis, and historically we have issues with too many semis being on a property. Yeah. So you cross your fingers and hope that the industry, kind of self-regulates there, but there are uses that could be permitted there by right that the building was not built to handle.
Yeah. So planning and zoning, endorsed it, and I'm just wondering if you feel that we're potentially opening up, and it has nothing to do with the development, right? Are we opening up a can of worms in the whole area?
Not necessarily the whole area, but there is a lot of M district in that area. So I think that just like we don't necessarily see all these other M uses that are there suddenly becoming a problem, Ty Warner Park area is a much cleaner M district, I think, than what we have on the south side of town. But it is a different property owner. We have very similar property owners with a lot of the properties up around Ty Warner. Actually, Ty Warner owns a lot of those properties, so he manages them very well. Okay. So I don't think it's a creep thing, that might occur, but there are just some. It will become a challenge for code enforcement if it does get out of control. So.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Director Hinderford, while you're up here, just real quick, while I'm looking at the list of permitted and special uses, for a point of clarity, it's fair to say that should they go ahead, get this zoning, that when a new tenant, which I'm presuming they're going to lease it out or market it for leasing, the business comes in that qualify or would be falling under a special use category, would require planning and zoning approval and village board approval.
Yes.
So we'd still have the opportunity to come in and see what that was, correct?
Yes. What the difference is that the M district does have a lot more permitted uses than our other districts, in particular the OR district, where we wouldn't necessarily have the control. There would still be control if it was listed as a special use, though.
Which would also likely, perhaps, attract some of the more entertainment style uses too, when I look at some of these lists, or some of these permitted uses that fall into that category.
There are lots of entertainment uses in the M District. Most of what is around Ty Warner Park is zoned M.
Yep.
So like pickleball,
Pickleball.
you know, the recreational stuff is something, the OR district is very restrictive.
Yep.
In the way it's written.
Okay, thank you.
So obviously, the inspectors get in there every year to inspect all the properties, as we mentioned earlier this evening. If they do a build-out, we're involved in that entire build-out. Before we give them occupancy, we're doing the above ceiling inspection. We're witnessing the sprinkler test to make sure it's holding the proper pressure. The thing that we're finding, Trustee Barker, is when maybe they do get out of there until we inspect it the next year to get a business license is when we find that the occupant has maybe changed and not changed for the right thing, and now they have storage or stock in the warehouse, or something in the sprinkler system was not designed for that pressure. So we find that a lot up in the M District with, with some Ty's buildings also, where, vehicles are parked inside and they're supposed to be emptied with oil and gas, but sometimes they have them in there. So that would be where sometimes we don't catch it right away until that year-on-year inspection happens. But we're up there, as we said tonight, we inspect every property once a year.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for the petitioner or Joe while we have them? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion,
To
Scales.
approve, Little?
Second, Linda.
Second?
Any other comments? Anybody from the public? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli? Yes. Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Congrats, thanks for coming. Okay, moving right on, D, 306 North Cass Avenue, final plat. Board to consider an ordinance approving a request from Compagno LLC, the petitioner, and 2 West Naperville Road, the owner, for the property at 306 North Cass Avenue in Westmont for a final plat of subdivision to consolidate 5 lots into 1. Director Hennerfein. Or maybe Attorney Zemanek's going to handle this.
Yeah, sure. The preliminary plan was approved at the last village board meeting
you're
for this
good.
development. It takes 5 parcels, consolidates them into 1. They've gone through engineering and been approved. They're complying with the land development code, and the request is for the village board to approve the final plat so it can be recorded and this developer can start moving on.
Great, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve Guzzo.
Second, Plowman.
Any comments? Joe, anything
My
else? Did you
apologies.
race back up here?
My apologies. I never get a break.
Yeah, it's a big night for you. All right, hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, we'll give you a break now, Joe. E, 2026 bond issuance. Village Board to consider an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation alternate revenue source bonds in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $35 million. Director Altic, have at it, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board. I have a brief presentation. Thank you, IT. All right, so we've been working on this bond issuance for several weeks, several months now. And so today's one of the last major steps, at least from a board standpoint. So tonight, we're seeking the approval to officially issue $35 million in bonds. So what are we doing with the bonds? Several things. Primarily, it's for the replacement of the fire station and fire station headquarters on the south end of town. It's more of that $25 to $31 million range. Also encompasses the Public Works cold storage facility and site improvements. And kind of what's left from those two, we can spend on infrastructure improvements as well. So lots of infrastructure improvements in town. It could be in the form of property acquisition, stormwater improvements, sidewalks, streetscape improvements. The list is long and many. The next major piece is the water fund piece. So this encompasses replacing 1.25 miles of water main on the northwest end or side of town, as well as water plant improvements as well. So these improvements go a long way just to make sure that our water system continues to have that reliability and those water quality standards that our customers are used to. So how are we paying for this? Primarily, the village is paying for this from non-home rule sales tax and from water system rate revenue. And a secondary source, or as a backing source, the village is also pledging 1% state shared sales tax, and property taxes is kind of that last line of defense. We don't expect to get to that point, but as part of this bond issuance, we're required to have that property tax last line of defense baked into there. Like I said here, we expect to abate those taxes. The village has always abated these bond issuances, and we expect to issue or abate these for the next 20 years. Last thing, some of the bond structures or some of the key points I wanted to point out as part of this bond sale. 20-year term, the village is fortunate to be in a good position to be able to make a principal payment in that first year. It's not always common or typical in bond issuances across villages throughout the country, but the village is in a good spot to be able to make a principal payment in year one. And so that goes a long way. We'll save the village about $650,000 in long-term interest costs over the 20-year life. So pretty important thing. I'll have a call period or refinancing period kind of at the midpoint, December 31st, 2035. Once again, we'll annually abate the property taxes associated with it. The village currently has a AA plus bond rating, one of the higher bond ratings that you can get. I expect that we'll have continue that rating. Me and the village manager actually have a meeting on March 18th. We meet with S&P to go over our credit rating. So we'll find out probably by the end of the month what our credit rating will be. The last thing I want to point out is this will be a tax exempt for the buyers or investors who actually buy these bonds. And then the last thing I want to point out, current market conditions. We're still a month and a half, 2 months away from the actual sale at the end of April. But as long as things continue the way they are now, I expect that we'll realize a rate below 4%, which is pretty good. Probably somewhere in that 3.75 to 3.95% range is where I would expect that we'll land, which is, in the grand scheme of things, a pretty solid rate. That's all I have. If there's any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I just have a quick question. So maybe a silly question. Is it a separate bond, or is it just packaged up in like a municipal bond that people buy into?
So it'll get sold to one particular group who will buy the whole package, and what they'll end up doing is they'll parse those out into different blocks or chunks to other investors, and that could be like Charles Schwab or those types who may buy those, and then the public can then buy those bonds from that from there out. So if they sell to Charles Schwab, then the public can go out and buy those bonds from Charles Schwab. Or sometimes we get, large banks will buy them as collateral. So it could be a bank that buys it for their collateral purposes, or it could get sold to a Charles Schwab who sells them as part of their portfolio offering.
Thanks.
Alan, just curious, and I'm not to put you on the spot, but just because of the climate today, with all the global craziness happening, I would think this is a safe bet. It's probably a good market to sell these. Is it fair to say, I know you're average, expecting 3.75 at 3.95. I mean, as things continue the way they are, I would think probably even a better rate for us, huh?
I do. Especially with the Fed funds deal, if the Feds continue to lower rates, which doesn't sound like they're going to between now and maybe the bond sale.
Yeah.
But if they were to do something like that, that would certainly vote in our favor. But to your point, market conditions have improved over the last 6 months. If we were talking about this 6 months ago, we would be over 4%, probably between 4 and 4.25. Since then, they've come down and will be in that 3.75 to 4% range.
Interesting. We'll see what happens. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve.
Motion, Scales.
Second, Guzzo.
Any questions, comments, people from the audience? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving right on. F, creation of a Class 26 liquor license classification. Board to consider an ordinance amending Chapter 10 of the Westmont Code of Ordinance is to create a new Class 26 liquor license classification that would allow the sale of alcohol liquors by arts and crafts studios when classes are offered to the public. Deputy Liquor Commissioner Mulhern.
Meeting Mayor and Village Board, the Liquor Commission recommends the creation of a new liquor license class, and it'll be a Class 26 license to allow for non-for-profit arts and crafts studios to sell beer and wine only whenever customers are participating in an arts and crafts workshop. This license is restricted to arts and craft workshop classes for customers who are at least 21 years old. The arts and crafts workshop shall include pottery making, painting, soap making, jewelry making, painting, candle making, knitting, and other similar workshop classes where a tangible product is made by on-site customers. Only businesses who offer arts and craft workshop classes associated with their primary business are eligible for a Class 26 liquor license. This license is not to include nail salons, massage parlors, or anything like that. It's mainly for those businesses that have arts and crafts classes. And it's designed to draw in attention or businesses into the village and for any existing businesses that would make into it. We have one that's interested in it, that's why I'm here tonight, and that if this were passed, they would be applying for a liquor license. One issue was the BYOB, which was mentioned earlier. They would not be getting a BYOB license. Talking to the current owner, others would be the same way, is that it's not interested right now. It should be they have to serve it. That way they can control the sale and service of the alcohol rather than the BYOB. It makes it kind of questionable. But they can always apply at a future date and time. The way our ordinances read, a business must have a main liquor license class, so they would have a Class 26, and then if they want, they can apply for a BYOB license. It'd go before the Liquor Commission. If it's approved, there's no fee for that, then they'd be allowed to have BYOB services. But right now, at the beginning, we're not offering that. John has a...
Yeah, just to clarify that, it's not anyone with a liquor license that can have asked for a BYOB license. It's only restaurants and hotels with a restaurant, I believe, that can ask for a BYOB license. So a facility like this would not be eligible for BYOB unless we amend the BYOB license class to allow it.
And I think historically, we only have one business that has that designation. It's not that popular. And the only other thing I need for the board to give us guidance is that the annual fee. We kind of looked at our annual license fee. This is not something that's going to be done daily. Like if you look at the Uptown Potbelly or a business that's serving alcohol daily, it'd be occasionally, or maybe every weekend, maybe every other weekend. So do they get charged, $1,000, $2,000? I guess we're looking at our recommendation being a minimum of $500, but we're looking for the board to give us direction into that, how to set the fees.
And the way it's drafted, it is $500 initial fee and then a $500 annual renewal fee after that.
How does that compare to similar
We do have other license fees, like the Park District, other events that, again, not having something daily, but just occasionally. I know the Park District is the one that comes to mind the most. We don't have that many that are that low, but that's something that we considered. And checking with the deputy mayor, it was like, what fee should we sign? And he said he felt comfortable with the 500, again, because it's not something that's done daily.
Yeah. I think a smaller amount is fine. I'm comfortable with it. I don't know if anybody else.
Yeah. And again, this would only be during classes only, and to the customers, and the customers would have to request it. The business owner is there and has to ensure. They also have to be BASSET trained. I don't know if that's something as well too, but they have to be trained. Anyone who's serving alcohol has to be trained, and they're aware of that. And anybody coming into town will know that too.
All right, well, very good. And this is just a good story, I think. Trustee Scales, thanks for bringing it to our attention. I think this is a good example of the new team being easy to do business with. The local business approached us with an opportunity to help and expand her business, and geez, 2-3 weeks later, here we are on the agenda. So, I mean, if only other governmental entities could work this good.
Give me a month, because they do have to go through the background phase and everything, which I don't anticipate any problems, but I would say probably in a month from now, you'll see this back for the issuance of a license.
It's a good addition, and I know our village clerk approves, right?
I do, yeah. We have a book club event
She
interested.
can't wait to go, so we made her
And I've
happy.
been in there and I just looked at Facebook, and Facebook, there was an ad on Facebook, and it makes me want to go back there. But it's a nice addition to the village, but there again, too, this is not only for this business, it's for the other ones. I think Trustee Little bought that, and Trustee Barker, businesses we can attract and bring into town.
Well, it brings more people to the downtown, and guess where they're gonna go once class is over, right?
Yeah, local
the idea.
restaurant and/or, somewhere, so.
Very cool. No, thank you for your hard work on this and getting this done. Unless there's any other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve Plowman?
Second, Little?
Any other comments from the public? Roll call, please.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, moving right on.
Everybody have a
G.
good night.
Yep, take care. Thank you. Award a bid proposal, water treatment control and pumping station demolition and chlorination system replacement. Board to consider an ordinance awarding the bid to Dom Mechanical Industries Incorporated for the water treatment control and pumping station demo and chlorination system replacement project and authorizing a construction contract consistent with the bid documents. Director Reese.
Good evening. The village accepted bids from one contractor for this project, so there was only one bidder, Dami Mechanical Industries. The base bid was $598,000 with an additive alternate of $30,000 for a total bid of $628,000. This bid was approximately 25% higher than the engineer's estimate. This is attributed to volatile market pricing, tight project schedule. We contacted some of the contractors that picked up the package but did not submit a bid afterwards. The contractors were very busy. They have a lot of backlog. They didn't like the risk of having to remove the diesel storage tank. And they had a lot of projects going on with competing schedules, so that affected the bidding climate. But however, we do still recommend awarding this bid. The contractor I've worked with many times in the past, and the work was satisfactory. So just the scope of work, we will be replacing the gas chlorine system with a liquid sodium hypochlorite system. This will be much safer for staff to operate. We also remove obsolete and unused equipment, so some low-service pumps and aerator. The clear well and associated piping will be abandoned. We'll be removing a diesel engine generator and removing the underground storage tank for the diesel generator as part of this project. And this is kind of a preliminary preparatory project for replacement of pumps, VFDs, controls, and associated electrical gear that will occur in 2027.
Thank you.
Questions?
No, I appreciate it. Is it safe to say, too, I mean, this is a pretty technical type of a project, so probably not a big pool of contractors either to choose from, correct?
Yeah, for something like this, you'll probably get, on a good bid, like between 2 and 4. It's pretty specialized.
Yeah, absolutely. And has Dom done work in Westmont or just in
No,
your
but I
tours?
worked with them a lot in Naperville.
They've done a lot. Well, Naperville's got a good water system, so very cool. Okay, any questions from the board? Why we have to, yes, sir. Trustee Barker.
For the tank that's going to be removed, did you do soil borings over there to sample that?
The removal of tank will include associated soil borings. So we did not take any outside where the tank was, but does not have any record of leaking. So
So it could be a surprise.
it could what?
It could be a surprise.
I hope not.
Well, I hope not, right? Okay.
Any other questions, comments? I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Pirelli.
Any other comments? Anybody from the audience? Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Moving on, H, award a bid proposal, Burlington Avenue realignment. Board to consider an ordinance awarding the bid to A-Lamb Concrete Contractors Incorporated for the Burlington Avenue realignment project and authorizing a construction contract consistent with the bid documents. Director Reese.
The village accepted bids from 10 contractors for this project. The low bidder was A-Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. with a low bid of $1,627,982.76. This bid was approximately 1.5% lower than the engineer's estimate. We've worked with this contractor in the past, and the work was satisfactory. The project will include sanitary sewer relocation, water main relocation, storm sewer and associated structures, reconstruction and realignment of Burlington Avenue, including new curb and gutter and asphalt pavement, sidewalk, street light units, which will be dark sky, landscape restoration, and other miscellaneous work items. So Burlington Avenue, during the roadway portion, will be completely closed to traffic, but is our intention to keep the parking lot open during construction. Any questions?
I have just a couple quick questions. I'll be fast. In looking at the different proposals that you received in terms of cost, is that a reasonable delta that you normally see between those
These bids
amounts?
were very tight. So this is something that I would consider a good bid because they were very close together.
And does lower always mean the choice, or do you look at other factors?
No, you look at the lowest responsible bidder. So that means that they submitted all their paperwork correctly, that they submitted a reasonable bid for the project, that they gave us a bid bond, that they acknowledged any addendums so that they were submitting a complete bid. And then there's also, if it's a contractor we don't know or have never worked with, we would check their references. So we would call their other towns that they've done work in to make sure that the work was satisfactory.
Previous projects. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments on the board while we have the director here? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I think there's public.
I'll get to you guys. Hold on, we're gonna do a motion, then we'll open it up for some public comment. Have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve, Little?
Second, Guzzo.
Questions or comments from the board? Hearing none. Anybody from the audience? Come on up one at a time, please. They make me run this like a tight ship, Steve. All
right.
All right, please state your name and address.
Stephen Fleck, 11 North Washington is my residence. I also own one of the owners of Dolce Restaurant and Wine Bar at 13 North Cass, which will clearly feel an impact from all this. There's no doubt about this. Some of you may know that the last couple of weeks we met with Mayor Nero, a couple of his administration staff, and I'm just going to read through this so I don't ramble on. I just want to hit my points and you guys can digest it. But I want to start by saying, I'm not here to argue. This has been frustrating. It's painful. We're business owners. We put all our money into this place. Other business owners have done the same, some for many years, much longer than us. My response I always get when I speak to people from the village is that, oh, this has been going on for 8, 10 years. I understand it's been a dream for 8 to 10 years. It just hasn't happened. Quincy Station was originally that developer looking at that location, but it wasn't a good package deal, and I understand that. There was multiple properties. You guys have now zoned into one. You spent tons of taxpayer money. I mean, $1 million for a strip mall, a couple $1 million to Haraldson's Garage, Linden Properties. You're going to move a ComEd line for a couple $1 million, and now another couple $1 million to relocate a street. But the real reality is the way this thing's being presented, and you say you're being transparent to the public, is the public really knows this piece of it. This is being done to hand this to a developer on a silver platter and say, here's one parcel, you deal with one purchase. Underneath this lot is a ComEd line. He's the only developer that you've been dealing with. You're going to give him a couple $1 million, a couple million in TIF. I mean, where's the small business owners that are in this? And I'm looking at this when we spoke with them is, the answer is there's a lot on Lincoln. That's fine, there's a lot on Lincoln. I've heard it straight from village employees. We even discussed it at the meeting. You can beautify it all you want, but you have nothing to enforce current businesses that back up to that lot. That is a scary lot, and I'm repeating things that were spoken by other business owners here when I brought about 40 people into this room to meet with them. That lot back there is nice, but it's not here for the future yet. I'm even laughing at the fact that we have a new economic development guy who came from Downers Grove, who used to be the mayor, that in 2004 said in his own words, without our parking garage, none of our town would have come to the fruition that it is today. We don't have parking here. This has been the ongoing thing in this town forever. The cart is being put for the horse. And what I'm asking you, and a lot of you trustees probably aren't even aware of this, you don't always have to follow what people are saying. It's time that maybe you actually go out and talk to these business owners, talk to the residents. It's already happening on social media. Not even from business owners, but from residents saying, We don't want this yet. We need infrastructure. You can't keep adding density. I will tell you this, I can't find one business owner after you put another building up, who that same developer said, I don't sell my buildings, just sold Quincy Station, which is half empty, by the way. It is. It's half empty. So digest that when you put another rental in, and I would never give $1 million or $2 million bucks to build a restaurant in the bottom of that when there's no parking in this town. So, you know, I think you're putting jeopardy to businesses. I think you should really consider the people that elect you, and as trustees, it would be nice to see somebody finally rethink this before you just jump in the deep end. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, come on up. Please state your name and address, please.
Joseph Dunphy, 102 East Burlington. I moved here from the near north side of Chicago, Halloween of 2022. Now, right now, I see, if I understand the proposal correctly, I see you folks heading down a road that my former city of residence headed down years ago. You're not providing enough parking. That might sound like a minor inconvenience, but historically what happened on the near north when this happened was that people just parked wherever. And certainly there were laws saying you can't park here, you can't park in somebody's driveway or just park along the street. But in real life, what happened in the end is that people, finding that they had nowhere legal to park, just parked wherever. Streets that in theory were 2 lanes on either side ended up becoming 1 lane. And the most common sight in the city of Chicago became that of an emergency vehicle that was stuck in traffic, basically going nowhere. The general expectation in these high-density, very fashionable neighborhoods is that if you have a heart attack, you won't live to see the hospital. The bad guys have sort of gotten used to the idea that we'll call the police, and the police will just be sitting there, lights spinning, getting nowhere anywhere fast. It's not that people don't want to let them pass, it's that there's nowhere to pull off the road. So please put in a parking garage first. It's not that people want to be defiant, it's that once they get here, if there's nowhere to park, what are they going to do? Okay, guess that's it.
Appreciate your comments. Thank you for coming. Any other comments, folks from the audience? You're here, Brian. Come on.
I am curious, what version
Please just
of
state your name. This is a different meeting. State your name and address, please.
Brian Schuring, I'm a Westmont resident. I am curious genuinely what version of Westmont some people are going to, because I've never once had a problem finding a parking place downtown. There's parking all along the train tracks. There's a parking lot right by the train station. There's one up on Irving. You can park on the streets all around downtown. I've never once had any trouble coming here and finding parking. What we sometimes have trouble coming here for is reasons to come here. And that's changing. I want to say that is definitely changing. That candle shop, my wife went there for her birthday. It's great. We like Neat. I like Whiskey Hill a lot. There's more now, but like, frankly, we need more businesses and more people living here than more parking, frankly.
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else in the audience? Any comments from the board or staff?
I have a quick question. Does the, we're voting on the award of the bid proposal. Does this green light the project straight away, or what's the timeline for things moving forward?
Is your question about which project? The project of the roadway?
Sorry, the roadway, yes.
Once we award this contract, this is a construction contract for the roadway. We will inform the contractor that the contract is awarded. We will proceed forward with finalizing the contract, getting his bonds and insurance, and scheduling a pre-construction meeting and giving him his notice to proceed. So if this is awarded tonight, this project would probably go under construction in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
And does it go concurrently with the ComEd project?
We're still pushing ComEd for a start date. It's been difficult, but we have spoken with them about them working concurrently with this roadway construction. Our project, the roadway, is much more weather dependent than their project is. So we have a limited amount of time to get this done. You know, we have to get it done before the weather gets bad.
And then, Amy, could you talk a little bit about kind of what the reroute is? Is that something that you'd talk with the construction manager about, kind of figure out the detours or where people would go? Because Burlington would be closed from Linden to Cass, is that?
Yeah, for part of the beginning of it, when it's just like underground utility relocations, the road could probably stay open for some of that. But once the roadway starts to get reconstructed, like all the mass grading starts happening and earth excavation and the subgrade is getting built and all that, then the road would be closed. There would be a detour up to Irving, the next street.
And do you have planned signage that will direct people where they can park and which way traffic should flow when this is?
Yeah, there's a traffic control plan included in the contract documents for the detour for the construction project. We've also put up some parking signage downtown. Additional parking signage should better direct people to other parking lots, and we're in the process of trying to get better signage on the public parking lots with the very recognizable blue P that is pretty universal for parking in our area.
And will that happen, do you think, prior to this?
That's already happened. We've got some of the signage already up.
Okay.
And then we're going to try to keep the lot open even when Burlington is closed, so like a temporary access way or something?
Yep, and we're in contact with Pace to move the bus stop so we can explore a secondary entrance off of Cass.
Oh, so during this whole project, the parking lot will still be open?
We're going to try to keep it open as much as we can. There might be isolated times where like the alley is blocked or one of the entrances is blocked but the other one is open. But we're going to try to keep it open as much as we can.
Yeah, and I'll add, we did have, I know Mr. Fleck mentioned the meeting we had, and I know the board received a summary. But Amy and with Spencer and Jim's help, we have our commitment to be more proactive with communication and doing everything we can to help along the way. We know this is a big impact to the downtown, and I think that goes without saying, but I just wanted to reiterate that and expect, for those that are watching and listening and those here, expect a lot more than what I think we're used to, and we all committed to that, and I think the Monday or the following Monday or early Tuesday follow-up really did highlight all that, so I appreciate staff understanding that this is a little different, super important to the village, but we'll get through it together. Mr. Blake, you got another comment?
Yeah, I had a quick question follow-up in regards to that. And there was talks during our meeting about maybe if Pace can relocate, cut an egress that pulls into that lot. I think that's something that would be hugely beneficial because I think we're all in agreement from that meeting. We all know if you call ComEd, that doesn't mean ComEd comes running, right? So ComEd, tentatively, you guys may have heard this, I contacted you about it. Somebody I know higher up over there basically said, we're tentatively looking at June 29th, but I can tell you this, if there's a tornado or a hurricane down south, we're leaving. We could start it and pull out. But if this is awarded tonight, as Amy said, 3-4 weeks, this could happen. I mean, I can tell you this, when this went public and you guys posted it, I've already lost 2 major parties, 2 weddings. That is huge for us. This isn't just even about our regular diners. This is about losing business for people that myself, Tarasi, Flemings, get larger events, and those are what really make our bills. It's going to be a struggle. And truthfully, as a restaurant owner, I think this is going to be harder than COVID for us. And there's no joke about that. I believe that the town can continue the development. But my big question now for you would be, is you're spending all this money. What if, have you guys asked this question? The developer changes his mind, doesn't buy the property. Money's too expensive to borrow. We're in wars in the country. Financing can change and they go, we can't do this. Or you redo this whole road and the residents start coming to these meetings and they put pressure on you and say, don't do this to our town. You spent millions of dollars to reroute a road, move a ComEd line, for what at that point? I truly believe this was an opportunity for the village to probably work with 201 for a change, where they wanted a new school, work with them. Put a development down by Manning, get rid of an old building. You still got all that frontage for parking. without having to move a line at things at this time, and now you're generating revenue that way. Smart development, not rush development. Just because this project has been on the table so long doesn't have to be the one that you guys pull the trigger on overnight. I mean, you're going to put this village on the hook again for millions of dollars. You're building a new fire station. You're going to put in $1.6 million on a road tonight if you all vote yes. And then ComEd is, I heard, $2 million to move the line now. That's another $3 million. A couple million in real estate to a garage, a strip mall, another $1 million. I didn't know you guys were in the real estate market so much. I mean, we got, as restaurants, up to $1,000 during COVID. You got this much money to throw around. I would ask for more help. But, you know, I'm just a restaurant. And a lot of guys are at the restaurants working tonight and couldn't come. But I had a lot of emails back of people that wanted to be here today and couldn't. But I really think, and it would be nice to see some trustees hit the pause button.
Thank you, and I just want to add a comment, and I mentioned this at the meeting we had with the business owners, is this property is becoming developer ready. And I can tell you personally, I've been in meetings with potential developers the past 10 months, more than anybody wants to know. And it's kind of, I think, comical to wonder how I'm still working another full-time job by that many people we've met. Developers are salivating to work on this project. So God forbid something happens with the potential project, which this isn't even approving. Trust me, there'll be people lined up all around Cass Avenue to develop here without a doubt. So I think this is a good effort. This is best practice for development. This is how you get parcels as complex as this ready to roll. This, in my opinion, is the right thing to do. And that is all I have. I think, do we have a motion yet?
We do.
Any other comments from the board?
Could I just add
Yes.
something? No, I know that we had the big development at Quincy Station, and we should have learned from what we've done there and what we can improve on, right? So when you look at I wasn't involved in that Friday meeting. So was there any mitigation or anything that the village could kind of keep track of how that flow is going, and then, you know, reach out to the business owners when we need it? We should be there to assist them
100%.
through this construction. And on top of it, better communication. So, you know, weekly communication on what's happening at that corner should that construction happen.
It might even be more frequent than weekly sometimes, but
Right.
yes.
Right. Just to keep the village informed of what's going on, because I think we lost a lot during this strip here, which I think we still ended when we said we were going to end. There was just no communication, and everybody was like, well, what the hell's going on down there? And I didn't see any trucks. I don't see any movement. What's happening? You know, and there was probably good reasons for that, but we never communicated out to the residents. So, you know, that on top of being a good neighbor and really supporting our business owners and really putting, what I want to say, putting our money where our mouth is, and at least being that good support system for the business owners down in that area. That's all I'm saying. I didn't.
Sure, I can cover a couple of those things to allay some of those concerns. So, first off, we had a great meeting that Mr. Fleck coordinated. We had 30 plus people in attendance. From that, we created a group of the interested parties that attended. I think the feedback was great. Assistant Manager Parker put on an excellent presentation to kind of lay the foundation of how we got to where we are today from a historical perspective, with the decisions that were made by not only this village board but previous administrations and village boards. We have very smart people in Public Works working on traffic ingress and egress with the flow in and out of that parking lot. We know that we need to keep it open as much as humanly possible. That's why, coming up with, taking the Pace bus terminal and turning it into a right turn in, right turn out, entrance and exit on top of the exits, or coming in through the alley and coming off of Burlington Street. We have a meeting tomorrow talking about valet parking, working on a public-private partnership, and see if that's a viable option. That's tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Fleck still be in attendance, right, Steve? All right, there you go. So we have that. We met with the school district last week with District 201, maybe 2 weeks ago now, to talk through economic development in the downtown area. So we have new communication with that group, the school board and superintendent and his staff. So we have a lot of things in the works, the parking signs. We have a couple other things that are, we're thinking through conceptually, but are in the infancy of execution. So we were thinking about how we get the flow of pedestrians and vehicles through the downtown area faster, safer, in shorter routes. So, so we're on top of it, I guess is the message. Communication's high, outreach is high, and we're already taking steps to mitigate a lot of the concerns.
I think you can take the pressure off a lot of times when you forewarn people of what's happening in the near future, rather than people driving downtown going, "What the hell's happening?" I think that's my only thing is huge on communication.
I'm sorry, just really quick, when this project is done and then the parking lot, will it be gone or will it be there until there's a developer who buys it? Like after the street is done, is that parking lot still going to be in use?
Yes.
Until a developer purchases the lot?
As much as possible, yeah.
Yes.
So after the...
Yeah, so after the road construction is done and the ComEd is done, there's no plans to get rid of the parking lot
Okay.
until a developer purchases it. And I will say, in the conversations we've had with the current developer that we're working with, we have let that developer know that parking is important, and that with this parking lot being lost, we want to make sure we're still recapturing some of that parking. And so when that development does come to you, because we're not doing it now, we don't have the formal submittals, we don't have it all finalized. When it does come to you, I think looking at parking and what they can do for public parking is going to be an important thing. I will say, as we mentioned at the meeting, that when we looked at this 7 years ago and the village board approved a project there on that site, a slightly taller project than the one that's, we'll be looking at now. At that point in time, we said, we have to replace this parking lot, and so we built the parking lot at Lincoln and Irving, and there's a lot of issues with its location and the way it looks, and less how the parking lot looks, but how the general area looks, and there's not an easy way to access to Cass. So there's definitely some challenges with the parking lot, and I'm understanding, and a lot of the businesses are saying, certainly as it is right now, it doesn't replace this parking lot. And so that's one of the things we've been saying to this developer is when we do a proposal, we want to make sure there's some public parking so that it's not all lost. So that's going to be a key to focus on even after the development comes in.
And then is there plans, or not plans, because obviously it's just a vision, to develop more parking or a parking garage in Westmont, or is that?
So I think as the demand gets there, then, we would be looking at that. Yeah, potentially.
And then do we honestly know, though, what the rental rate is occupied here at the?
I don't have those figures off the top of my head.
I don't know. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I just want to, so I can't even recall. So I've been in town a long time, and I've been sitting here for a long time. And, the reason I got involved with the board and involved in the community is because I did have issues with the situation that we're in, right? The comments, I pay attention, I read the material, I listen, and give it what I think is a very good effort in how to help the community. And I am hearing nothing but transit-oriented. The rail line for development, the transit-oriented development is key to success in a central business district because they're trying to create more density so there's more patrons and more foot traffic. And over the last, I'm very proud of the effort, right? I went out, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago and I said we've got to do something called Westmont First, right? Everybody was frustrated with empty storefronts and all of that. We work real hard as a village to try to fill those, and we're making great strides, right? Things are really going in the right direction. I feel it. I can say that. And to have a development or interest in these properties like the mayor is saying, or has said, that's what I'm hearing. I also follow, and I understand, the aggravation or frustration as things change in and around your business. I'm not a business owner, but I am a Westmont patron. wherever I can be, and I've paid attention to the parking. And I've asked year after year after year about parking. You know, we were involved with the Lincoln Street lot, we were involved with analyzing the parking situation here, and do we have enough? And I've yet to see a study that says we don't have enough. And I want the day when we don't have enough parking, and we gotta build that parking garage. What was it? Probably before Bubs was here, right? Or right around that same time, we made an arrangement with Bubs to give them the parking that they needed to have their business to be compliant with village code. We also talked to people in the village, because I had worked at Holy Trinity, to do some kind of agreement with them to create a parking garage on Holy Trinity property and do a deal there. And if there was a need, the answer at that time was there wasn't a need. So the village at that time, and it was, you know, call it a backroom conversation, right? But there wasn't a need then, right? Now we have things going in the right direction. I hope one day we're desperate for that parking garage, and I have to say, I don't know that it's here yet, but I do applaud the village for Lincoln Street and the efforts that they've made to identify the parking and provide it and pay attention to it, because I can say this, they do pay attention to it, I pay attention to it year after year after year. So that's just my comments, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
You know,
Trustee Bob?
when I have, very rarely am I lucky to eat in downtown Downers Grove and not have to walk 3 blocks from that parking garage. So it's, if you build that, they will come, right? So I mean, I would walk 3 blocks for Dolce. You know, I'm kind of confused with the parking situation too, when people say there's not enough parking, because that's kind of a good thing to have, is when you know, when your parking lots are full in downtown. So, you know, I'm just saying that I would, wherever I'm eating, if the restaurant is worth it, people will walk 2 or 3 blocks to the nearest, you know, from the nearest parking garage to wherever. I'm very, very rarely do you find that spot right out in front of the door. You know, you're only given like 2 or 3 chances of being able to park right outside the front door. You know, so I think, you know, I don't know if it's a misconception that, you know, people always think that they have to walk, you know, a mile to get to a restaurant downtown, because I've never been in that situation. I've had to walk maybe at most 2 blocks down here to go to Golden Basket or whatever at a certain time, or Neat's always kind of filled down at that end of the street. But you know, it's very rarely are you able to walk right into the store, you know, that you want to walk into and have that front parking spot. So that's just my comments.
Quick question. I'm sorry.
No.
Trustee Plavin. What's the projected timeline just for the road configuration change?
There's a contract completion date of September 25th. So we hope to improve on that. That's final completion. There's a substantial completion date 30 days prior to that.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board or staff?
Can I just, because I wasn't at that meeting, but like, I mean, what were the other businesses' take on the project from now till completion, when maybe there's another, you know, complex there? I mean, are they happy? I mean, like, I guess.
Manager Gunther?
I wasn't, you know.
You want to, I mean, you received some comments.
Sure, I think the.
Are they wanting growth, I guess, are the businesses
Yeah,
excited
it
for
depends.
growth?
It's on a spectrum, right? So it
Yeah.
depends on the business that you run and the distance it is from parking, or the perception of this particular parking lot that's going to be impacted. So the closer you are to the parking lot, the greater the impact. The further away you are, the less the impact. And the room was filled with people from Ogden Avenue down to, you know, Uncle Bub's was there. So, you know, there was a wide swath of representation, and so it impacts everybody differently. You know, I would say that, you know, Aaliyah Rose, you know, that business model of having clients, coming in and out, like for an hour or two at the most, that's high foot traffic. Certain demographic goes to beauty salons for that service, coming from great distance, because she's very talented, and her staff is very talented at what they do. So I think that you can extrapolate that that's a great impact to that business, because it's right across the street from the parking lot. I felt leaving, and this is my personal opinion, that the people that attended, for the most part, were happy with the open lines of communication and being able to state their case, and certainly happy that staff put a lot of time and effort into preparation for the meeting. Spencer did a fantastic job with his presentation. He had to dig through a lot of old videos and old PowerPoints and lots of records in order to compile the information that we provided. So I think that's my perspective. It was a great opening step. We have time to mitigate a lot of the concerns that were put forth, and we're working with staff as fast as we can, as hard as we can, to do what we can to make it better than what it was when Quincy Station went in.
Yeah.
Comparison.
And I'll just add, I'll steal Trustee Plowman's thunder on communication, but that's really how both Jim and I opened up the meeting, as we said, hey, this went out, and Steve, you were there, we flat out said, hey, we didn't do the best job of communicating this, right? And it started with that leaflet, and that was our commitment on getting better, and I think folks appreciated that, knowing that, every day does government say we maybe didn't do the best job, and we owned up to it. And I think the team here has made me feel comfortable in the sense that the efforts that we're going to give now, and we're going to treat this maybe a little differently than we have a project like this in the past, made me feel a lot more comfortable, and that revolves around communication. And I think that's 90% of this, in my opinion. And the more we can be more proactive, and the more cadence touch points we have, the more methods to communicate, to let businesses get in front of things, I think it's going to be better for everybody. And that's really our goal. We're not just trying to do something to hurt folks' business. We want to do it the right way, and this is I think the best for the future. So hopefully that's just my take on it. But that was our kind of approach, was here we are, we're going to get better, and we're in this together.
And I think there was kind of a range of opinions and discussion. I think some are worried about change. I think that's always a concern. Sure. I think some expressed, thinking it's going in a good direction, getting some build up, and that, we're moving in a good direction, I think, in that way. So I think there was a little bit of that, a lot of worry about how it was going to work. And for me, I think one of the key takeaways was, despite the village's intention 7 years ago of saying, oh, we're already replacing this parking with the one on Lincoln and Irving, I think it was really, really clear that the way that exists now and its relationship to Cass is not meeting that need for the businesses. And so needing to make some changes for that to make that, of very much use for the businesses.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, honestly, I don't even know where that other parking lot is, so.
I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah, one other thing, in the big picture, this is a project that's going to occur in the TIF district. At some point, if you look at Quincy Station, last year's property taxes were in excess of $300,000, 335, roughly. And so a project of comparable size will be, $400,000 plus long-term, perpetual. That's an impact directly to the school district 201, because that's their general, major revenue source. So, we've had developers tell us that, this parcel has to go first before things, because it's so dead center in our town, that they need this, we need the opportunity to develop this in order to develop, north, south, east, and west to the extent that we can. So really, this is the keystone to spur the growth that we're hoping that we get in order to drive the foot traffic, in order to get the density, in order to get the people into our businesses, in perpetuity. And this is how we create the engine.
And then we'll just have to talk about the issue with Cass Avenue once we get all the density, because that's my fear. Because traffic on Cass Avenue, well, we all know, by the tracks is just traffic. But.
Any other comments from the board? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
I always have, can you do a no vote? So.
You can do an abstain vote.
Okay, what does that mean?
That means you're not voting on it, but your abstention vote counts towards the majority. or you can vote no.
Oh.
Or you can recuse yourself and not want to participate at all, in which case it doesn't count one way or the other.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I'm sorry. Everyone's on camera laughing at me. You know, I get so confused on this because personally, my views on villages, and I know they all do it all over, buying up property, I have a hard time with that issue. So I guess I could just vote no and just be done with it and just, but it's not that I don't want businesses, I just have a hard time with villages buying land or property, so I guess
So
that's
was
my
that
answer. No.
No? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Putting you out there.
Thank you. Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Motion passes. Moving on, I, grand finale, another exciting item, Metro permit fee waiver. Board to consider an ordinance granting a waiver of building and engineering permit fees and related fees to Metro for the Westmont Depot project. Director Hennefine, tell us something exciting.
I don't know if I have something exciting.
Well, this is exciting, come on.
So what's before us is Metra is planning a significant renovation of our station and the platforms. They started it a couple years ago when they actually manipulated the tracks and then took out that mid-block crossing that we are also sad to see go. It is a $22 million renovation that they are flipping the bill on.
Say that again.
And when they do these projects and when they come in, they usually ask the local community to waive all permit fees. Now, the way they operate, knowing what that actual fee is a little hard to grasp. So they do provide plans, they do work with us on the front end, but then they go back and do bids. They try to get an upfront answer on whether or not we will grant relief. So I did have Trustee Scales reach out earlier and ask, well, Joe, what are the permit fees anticipated to be? It's hard to wrap our arms around. If I was just using raw numbers, a $22 million project, just on the building permit fee side, generates a dollar amount of about $330,000. Now, does that mean we do $330,000 worth of work? We are trying to do as much review in-house as we can. There is only one outside reviewer that needs to basically contribute that there might be bills attributed to, but most of that money fills the general fund and in theory pays for my staff. But when the reviews are fairly quick to turn around, there's not a lot of generated cost on our side of things. So there are bonds that are associated with that to guarantee that the work gets done. All of our permit fees are geared towards commercial development, not public, institutional, governmental development. So we have negotiated to do most of the reviews internal, so our new village engineer is doing a lot of the engineering reviews. Building reviews still need to be done outsourced. That general permit fee would typically be around $16,000 or $17,000. We've been able to negotiate a bit of a better rate with our consultants. But what we don't know is inspections. How many times are they going to be called out for inspections? So it's a hard number to grasp. The actual outlay is probably somewhere closer to somewhere between $10,000 and $30,000. And that is if we're going by the book. Most of that is absorbed or done in-house. So it is a fairly typical request that Metro makes. I can answer any questions for you. It is a $22 million investment for our contribution here. So,
hell of a deal. Did we get approximate timeline?
I was just kidding.
I spoke with Director Reese. She felt that it would be a this year project.
Nice.
So,
Oh, this year? Do they have I mean, this has nothing to do with the fees, but like another walkway? Like, you know how they took that one down?
mm-hmm.
Or is this just the top, like?
Director Reese will correct me if I say anything wrong. There are plans to look at studies for,
Studies, okay.
for
Yeah, so
That
for the
underground.
pedestrian
Yeah,
crossway.
thank you for helping.
Yeah, so there's
Just run it up,
proposed
Joe.
underground pedestrian crossway.
For the save.
It's really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So we initially had somebody who kind of said, oh, we think you could probably do it for about, 10 million-ish. And then once we submitted that to Metra, they found additional complications, and their quote is actually closer to $37 million.
Oh, okay.
So we have done a great job applying for grants, and Public Works is taking the lead on that. I think we're on a wait list for some grants.
Yeah, we're
And it'd be
kinda
wonderful
contingency.
on a
Yeah.
contingency list. It would be great if we get those. If we don't, there's not a lot of chance of immediately having the village find $37 million.
Oh, yeah, I just didn't know if that was like something that, you said 22 million.
Yep.
I don't know what that covers, if they thought even, any kind of,
Yeah,
well,
Do you want to talk a little bit about what is covered in that $22 million project? What are they doing there?
They're going to install heated platforms on both sides of the train tracks. And then they're also going to be doing extensive remodeling of the depot building, raising the floor, remodeling the bathrooms, making handicap accessibility improvements, replacing like windows and exterior stuff. That ramp that goes down, they're going to be redoing all that. So it's pretty extensive what they're going to be doing there in terms of
Are they
refurbishing.
gonna keep it open longer? The hours are goofy because they don't have a cashier there anymore.
Yeah,
Curious.
it's locked in the afternoon after all the trains go by, and that's just mainly because it is frequently vandalized.
Oh, okay.
And we try to curb that.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
I believe also they are doing some remodeling of the little commercial space that's in the train station. And then what I have, the last report I had was that they were going to take down the north shelter and replace that as well. So.
Nice. It's a long time coming. I remember Representative Mizaki started this, geez, probably 5 or 6 years ago.
If the waiver of the fee gets us this metro station,
Pretty good deal, huh?
that's a pretty good deal, because that place is dreadful, right? And it's been that way for a long time, and it's been promised, and years and years and years.
Maybe even 7 years. Yeah.
And then you gotta remember that everybody that comes through here that uses it goes, this is dreadful, and everybody that drives by it says, this is dreadful, right? So it's an improvement that a lot of the other towns have. We need ours. So,
Be nice if there was some retail opportunity there, right?
Sounds like one slot maybe is going to be
Well, I think there's
commercial.
always been retail opportunity there. We always, thought we might get a little coffee shop or something in there. But it will make improvements that make it easier to lease, so.
I'm understanding like water has been an issue and those kind of things.
I believe so, yes.
Is it possible to work with Metra to celebrate this? I mean, this is an awesome win for the village. It's a hell of a project, big impact. Instead of just board meeting minutes, can we do like a nice press release and say that
I'm
Metra's
sure
finally giving
that
us
there's
something?
something we can work with their communications with on. It's very rare that we actually work with Metra, at least my office working with Metra.
That's what I mean.
so
Let's celebrate it.
I'd have to ask the questions, so I don't want to make any promises.
every
like that.
70 years.
I think it's a great win and something we should
comment.
shout to the public about, I guess, but cool. Great. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion Scales.
Second Plowman?
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Farrelly?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, thank you. And I don't have anybody have anything miscellaneous?
One thing, Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to applaud the guys
suppose.
with 21 handicap have been sitting here the whole night.
Wow.
Thank you, fellas.
I mean, that's a commitment, huh? Well, that's a good call out. All right, well, any other comments?
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, did you give a time on the state of the village?
I don't know if we have that yet. I
Okay.
believe 9 o'clock maybe, do we know? May 20th at,
Trying to pull it up.
we did it a little later. We did 7:30 last time, no one showed up because everybody's, still having
7:30
breakfast.
on a
but
Monday.
I think, Bob, it was only,
To show up this time, right?
Is this a
So
weekend?
well received.
no, it is during the week. And it's late morning.
Yeah. Late morning, I know that.
Late morning, but we'll confirm, we're gonna, as we get closer, we're gonna start
Okay, cool.
publicizing the details, but it will be no charge, there will be some snacks and good food to eat. And
Snacks,
maybe some golf lessons out in the hallway, since these guys wanna hang out with us now. But I do not have a request for an executive session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn, Little.
Second, Scales.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Little?
Yes.
Trustee Scales?
Yes.
Trustee Barker?
Yes.
Trustee Guzzo?
Yes.
Trustee Pirelli?
Yes.
Trustee Plowman?
Yes.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.